What's up, fellow classers? It's Apollyon here, and I'm going to bring you the next kind of, I don't know, the instructional set or how-to guide as far as when to bring a Stoned GoHo compared to a GoVaHo, which means 3 golems and the rest of your, with Hogriders and the rest of your kill squad, compared to 2 golems, Valkyries, which could go anywhere from 4 Valkyries all the way up to 9 or more Valkyries, Hogriders, and your kill squad as well. So when do you use either one? And to preface this, Town Hall 9 is it's definitely not broken, and it's definitely not it's very, very simple, but the changes that Supercell has made it just a little bit easier to be with a variety of different attacks. So the first thing I'm going to preface this with is by saying that you could potentially 3-star the same base with GoHo or a Stoned GoHo or a Stoned GoVaHo. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you get the timing down, you practice, you're used to. But one style or one composition lends itself a little bit better than the other one, and you usually want to go with the one that's the path of least resistance, or the one that's going to get you a little bit easier to get those 3 stars. So let's go ahead and just talk about golems versus Valkyries first, because that's going to help us get into why you use them and when you use each different set. So for golems, Valkyries, when we're talking about hit points, we can only compare apples to apples, so that we're not going to compare one Valkyrie with one golem, because a golem costs 30 unit space and a Valkyrie only costs 8. So what we have to do is we have to consider 4 Valkyries equals 1 golem. You have 2 extra, but for for the math, it's pretty much exactly the same. So 4 Valkyries equals 1 golem. Now, one level 4 golem, and I'm only putting a level 4 in there because that's only what you can make in Town Hall 9. You can get a golem in your clan castle, a max one, and I would always suggest that. But that's just 1 golem. The other 2 are going to be level 4. So let's just talk about level 4 golems compared with level 4 Valkyries, as that's a fair composition. And the level 5 golem is better, but not instrumentally better, where it's a huge difference. So the level 4 golem has 6,000 hit points, but when it breaks, it does considerable damage of explosion and creates 2 golemites that have 1,200 hit points apiece. So 6,000 for the golem and the 1,200 times 2 for 2,400, which gives you a total of 8,400 tanking hit points with that one unit. Valkyries, on the other hand, have 1,200 hit points apiece, so you times it by 4, so they have 4,800. So you can see a huge difference. Valkyries are quite tanky. They're they're even better than level 6 giants, so they are very good with that, but they're nowhere near the amount of hit points, almost double between 1 golem and 4 Valkyries. Now DPS, which is damage per second, golems are doing 50 damage per second. And if we look at the Valkyries, just 1 Valkyrie alone does more than double, almost 3 times the damage that a golem can do. Now times that by 4, because we have to group them in 4s to make it an even comparison. You're going to do just about 500 DPS or damage per second. That's 10 times the amount of damage that 1 golem will do. That's tons different. Not to mention that Valkyries do an area of effect swing, which means they can take out 2 adjacent buildings or adjoining buildings or ones that are next to each other at the same time. So they're almost doing double that DPS. They're almost doing 1,000 DPS per second if you look at it that way. So that's a huge difference. Golems win on tanking and hit points. Valkyries destroy on DPS. Speed. Golems are very bulky and slow. They move at a 12 speed. They're slower than almost every other unit, except for things like balloons or giants and so forth. Valkyries, on the other hand, are faster than almost every other unit. They have a 24 speed, so double the speed. So we'll see how all this stuff comes into play in just in the next couple of illustrations. So when do you use GoVaHo? So we went over all the stats. So when do you use your 2 golems, or possibly 1 golem, Valkyries and Hogriders? So when you have lower royals, and it's not to say that you can't mix and match. You don't have to have low royals. You can use a GoVaHo when you have 30-30. You can have a Stoned GoHo when you have 10-10. But generally speaking, you want to have high royals that do really good damage to push through the base. If you don't have high royals, less than 20-20, then you need some extra firepower for you. And the golems, as we saw, aren't going to do that. They got the 50 DPS compared to 500 DPS and 4 Valkyries. So those lower royals need a little help and a little firepower to push them through. And that's where these, anywhere from 3 to 9 Valkyries are going to help you out with that. They're going to go ahead and take out a lot of these buildings that lower royals would have a little bit more trouble or take a little bit more time to go ahead and take out. If you have an open core base, and that's either by the base designer's design or the way they make it with an open core or a lot of open space for the Valkyries to run, or if you can drop a quad quake or a jump and open the base considerably, which we'll show in a couple of illustrations, then that's a great place to use for Valkyries. If you're going to put a large push through across the entire base to take out both royals, the king and the queen, then you need those Valkyries to go ahead and do the high DPS, get through the base, and they are royal magnets. Royals attract them like magnets. They run right to the king and right to the queen and take them out considerably quick. So golems will do nothing of the sort. They will get pounded on by a king or queen all day long and just hit the defensive building that's closest to them. So they're going to do absolutely nothing for you when it comes to that. And like I said about the push and high DPS, if your goal is to kill more or clean up more of this base using your kill squad and not your hogs, then you're going to want to push through with these Valkyries. And then finally, I mentioned they have the area of effect. So if you've got buildings that are put close together, adjacent to one another, the Valkyries love that, and they will go ahead and tear through bases that have buildings close to each other. And the high DPS means that they go through a base a lot quicker than just a golem that's tanking. So if time is a factor, if you're doing a type of attack that's going to take you a considerable amount of time and you need to clear that base inside quick, or you need the core of the base cleaned out quick so you can do the rest of your attack with your hogs, use your Valkyries. They clear up the base really quickly. So when to use a Stoned GoHo? If you have higher royals, your golems are heavy hit point tanks. So the damage is going to come mostly from those high level royals or your wizards, they're following up from the flank behind these golems that are tanking for you. If there's more compartments, if you don't need them to go through the entire base, you just need them to tank for your royals, tank for your wizards, your rest of your kill squad, and tank for those hogs that are being implemented or deployed around the base. You want those defenses to be right attacking and locked on to those high hit point golems. If you have a high concentration of defenses where there's tons of splash damage or tons of point defenses that are all going to be focused on those golems, that's fantastic. Valkyries are tanky, but they will get chewed through by a quad Tesla core, whereas a golem will stand a lot longer than a bunch of Valkyries will in a quad Tesla. Like I just mentioned before, if you need the more tanking, if you're going to use a good amount of Hogriders and you need those defenses to be tanked for them, that's where you're going to use the Stoned GoHo. And if you know where all the double giant bomb spots are, if you know where the spring traps are, and you need to go ahead and trip them, there's nothing better to do that than golems. Golems will step on a double giant bomb and just it'll shrug it off. It'll just basically tickle them, and they'll just continue to move on. Valkyries tank the double giant bombs pretty well, but it will do a little bit more than a quarter of the damage to their overall health. So it does a little bit of an impact, whereas a golem won't even do a tenth of the damage to them. So if you're going to go ahead and you want to trip those double giant bombs, then go ahead and do that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into some attacks, see it in action of people using Stoned GoHo and Stoned GoHo and GoVaHo. And I think on my attack I actually say something like Stoned GoVaHo. Just ignore that. It's just I said you can use a Stoned GoHo instead of the GoVaHo if you need to, but anyway, hopefully you enjoy these attacks and they make sense to you and when you can choose each one of these strategies. Okay, for our first example, we'll go ahead and watch Sen use a Stoned GoHo here. So he's going to bring 3 golems. They are going to go ahead and they're going to come in from, let's go ahead and check this. They're going to come in from this area right here. And if you notice where the archer queen is, it's very easily accessible as soon as you break into this first compartment right here. His goal, as we went over, is not to get all the way through the base. And if you look at all of the defenses, all the point defenses here, they are considerably close to where his golems are coming in. All of these defenses are going to be focused. The Expo, all the archer towers, all of the mortars, the cannon, all of them are on the inside of the base, not on the outside. So he's going to need to have some very, very serious tankage going on here. Whereas those Valkyries, even though they are tanky, they're basically 1/5 or 1/6 the amount of hit points as a golem now. And they will go down quicker. So you want to be able to have those beefy tanks come in here, all 3 of them, as far as the golems go, to be able to take out as many defenses as they can and tank for your king and your queen to take out whatever they can. But the main goal here is really just to take out the archer queen and to tank for the hogs as they make it around. Also, they're going to go ahead and take out or not take out, but they're going to be able to tank this Tesla farm, a quad Tesla farm that's right here in the core, which eats through hogs, even standing in heals, it goes through them. So those golems can take a much heavier hitting than those hogs can. So all of these things, he's just going to need a heavy tank support group here. So that is why he's chosen to go with a GoHo instead of a GoVaHo. If he wanted to get all the way across the base and taking out that king, if he was coming in the king side and needed to go all the way up to the queen side, that's when you use the Valkyries. Valkyries are royal magnets. They will go ahead and start making their way through the base as soon as they aggro with the royals or any other units. So he sends in his 2 golems in here to go ahead and start tanking. I like to send my max golem in last, the one from the clan castle, just because I want it to be the one that takes the biggest brunt instead of the one banging through the wall. A lava hound goes and pops here, or gets lured, and he's going to take her out with the queen and a couple of wizards there. So if you notice these golems, I think he still has 2 golems that are full at this point, and still getting hit on by all of these defenses on the top there. You look at the go ahead and pull out the drawing tool again. This is hitting, this one's hitting, this one, the Tesla's popped, which more of them are going to. He's already dropped the jump down, which will get him into that Tesla compartment. And as soon as they get towards that Tesla, this one, this archer tower, the Expo and this archer tower will be firing, and this cannon and this mortar are already firing. So he's got a lot of defensive units that are hitting him, which they would pretty much shred through a school of Valkyries if that was the case. So, oops, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and continue. And, he's sending the hogs down there. The queen's already been taken care of. Those hogs, they do trip a giant bomb and another giant bomb and get taken out. But they're going to make their way through that core, and look at who's tanking. It's the golem that's tanking at least a couple of those Teslas, as well as that lava hound that's pounding on them too, which is going to do absolutely nothing to them. Still has 1 more heal left over after this, and those golems are about running out. His king is already dead, and I think we've got 2 golemites, and look at, they're still tanking that cannon and the wizard tower are hitting those golems and a couple of the hogs there that have strayed, but those hogs are pretty much skating in there free, taking out that cannon with no problem and taking out the mortar without getting hit. So the queen, he was behind those golems, so she lived through it and she used the ability, and she's back to full again. She'll take out these pups, and we're all finished. He drops a poison down there to help that out, and has a few hogs, I think 4 or 5 hogs, to help out with that cleanup. So again, that's not to say that you can't use a GoVaHo on this base. I mean, most of them are interchangeable, but you would probably need to bring a different spell composition. You need to rage those Valkyries up in the core to make sure they go through that Tesla core, or the quad Tesla, also standing in heals. So they're going to need to be raged and healed up, and that takes 2 spots of spells, whereas he needed only 1 jump spell for those 3 golems, and that's all. He did not need to heal them up or anything like that to get them all the way to that quad Tesla. So you're maximizing the spells you can use for your hogs, and since he decided to go a little hog heavy there with 24, those heals are very important, especially in there. They need to trip some of the double giant bombs. That's not in the path of either those Valkyries or the golems. Either way, he picked it. All right, so let's go ahead and check out another attack. We'll go down to my attack on number 10, and we'll check out a GoVaHo. So we'll go ahead and pause it here, and it's a ring style base, but the nice thing is we're not dealing with anything in these corners. So let's go ahead and, like, these corners right here, I don't know if there's Teslas, I don't remember, but even if there are Teslas in those areas, if we draw a line here, we'll see a path straight here, where when I send my kill squad in this way, if I use a jump, they're going to go ahead straight into this area. In fact, this archer queen that's right here is going to draw those Valkyries. Valkyries love kings and queens. They love that. They're magnets to them. So as soon as they take this jump and they start walking through this core right in this area right here, that queen is going to aggro. They're going to be pulled right into there and pulled right into that core. So anytime you need to take out a core quickly and you need to take it out efficiently, there's nothing better to do that than Valkyries, because they love to hit those buildings that are close to each other, such as this, the altar and the expo. They're right next to each other, the expo and the clan castle. These right here, they get in between there and they have an area of effect hit where they will take out 2 buildings at the same time. So they take these core buildings out very efficiently, and they'll trip any giant bombs that are in here in the area, as well as Teslas or whatever there is that's there, and they can really get done with it. The only problem is you got to help them out. You got to either bring a rage or heal or both to get them through that core and get them to take out what they need to. So another nice thing is they'll be pulled into by that king. So as soon as those Valkyries make their way, take the jump, get the queen, the next thing they're going to aggro on is this king right here. So they're going to go ahead and take out both royals and start taking out all the buildings in the core, while your other components of the kill squad, like your 2 golems and your king, are going to go ahead and help out with a little bit behind those Valkyries. So anyway, let's go ahead and check that out and see how they do this. This base could potentially be hit with a Stoned GoVaHo, but it's just, for me, it's more efficient to use Valkyries. So it's a little bit quicker as well. So I can easily lure up that clan castle, go ahead and use the poison. If I don't have this opportunity to do that, I can still go ahead and do a no lure and use those Valkyries and use 2 poisons, to draw out the clan castle and use the poisons to kill them. But it's just more efficient and easier to do it this way. So I'll go ahead and start sending in some easy cleanup troops. I do 1 for 1 with the loon on the top, the 3 o'clock position. And I need to really funnel. That's the main thing. When you are using Valkyries, golems are automatically attracted to the nearest defense. Valkyries are attracted to the nearest set of buildings that are close to each other, side by side. So you really need to guide them and hold their hand in order to get them to go where you want them to go. You cannot let any of these side trash buildings to be still up, or otherwise when you drop them in, they will go ahead and stray and do a Valkyrie walk around the base. So if you look right now, all I have are these 2 buildings, and feel free to look at my how to funnel or why to funnel type of thing too. But I've got these 2 buildings right here, and then I've got nothing else all the way on this area, and nothing else all the way on this area to go ahead for these Valkyries to hit. So they only have one way to go, and that's in between these buildings. Take these 2 buildings out and then move right into the next section. So they won't be doing any walking in this particular attack on entry. So I send the queen in there to start continue that building, and then the king, and then I'll go ahead and send the Valkyries in here. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the jump there, go ahead and rage them up, and they're going to one swipe the queen. She is already dead, and they'll go ahead and start making their way and jump into that core while the golem moves to the defense and starts tripping giant bombs there. Now with the queen already down and a couple of the giant bombs set, I can already send these hogs in here. And technically, the Valkyries and everything else in the kill squad has done their job. We like them to tank for a little bit more. You notice those Valkyries are completely full health right now, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to start smacking through some buildings, but they are tanking for me. Look at the Teslas they're tanking. I should have sent the hogs in from behind, from the 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock area where those Valkyries are tanking for them. But I still have 2 or 3 Valkyries up, and still doing some damage and tanking for these hogs. I've run out of heals already, but all 4 of those giant bombs have been tripped. So all I got to do is push through this base. Unfortunately, this queen has already used her ability, so she is going to go down. But I have a bunch of hogs left over. They're going to have to take out this defense, the archer tower up top, which the Valkyrie is tanking for them right now, and then the Tesla up in that corner. So we'll go ahead and finish that, and we are all done. Again, you could use a GoHo in this particular, or a Stoned GoHo, but I like to take out that core as much as possible, and a golem would never take out bust through those walls as quick and start tanking on the back end unless you brought another jump. So it's just something to take into consideration. So let's go ahead and take a look at another GoVaHo, and we'll go ahead and switch to another war for that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at our last GoVaHo, and Rampo's going to go ahead and take their number 2 out, and he's going to bring in a shattered entry of 2 golems, 7 Valkyries, and 18 hogs. And with his heroes being at 25-20, he could choose to do the push a little further with just 3 golems, but he wants to go ahead and take out both of those royals and do it pretty quickly. So he's going to actually come in from this area right here with his golems, or his 2 golems. I'm sorry, there's 3 there. So we'll go ahead and redo that again. Just his 2 golems here, and he's going to push through this area, take out this king, and go ahead and also take out this queen with a jump that's placed right in this area that's going to connect all that whole entire compartment, which is going to go ahead and pretty much make all of this accessible to him with that particular jump, which is going to be nice because it's going to take out both Expos, 3 Teslas, and do a lot of tanking for them, and those Valkyries are going to help out with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at his attack. So bringing that shattered entry in there, he's going to do a no lure, so he's going to drop his 2 golems down there and start funneling with those wizards. And like I mentioned on the other videos, when you're using a GoVaHo and you're doing a no lure, that means you're going to have to take in consideration your spell composition for this. It's not the same as a GoHo where you can just go ahead and jump them and let them tank and get beat up, those 3 golems, while everybody else is doing the work. These Valkyries have got to be taken care of. So they're going to jump into that core, but while they're jumping into that core, they're going to be hit on by the clan castle, they're going to be hit on by the royals, and they're going to also be hit on by all those defenses. So in that case, you need to bring at least an extra heal for them, and potentially, depending on how quickly and how much you want them to push and how much you want to get out of your Valkyries, you want to bring a rage for them, because the goal would also be to trip those double giant bombs with them and take out any kind of things that the Hogs might run into. So that's exactly what's going to happen here. He's got the funnel going, he drops his wall breakers, it goes in, drops his king, drops his queen, and everything reroutes into that thing. And then he'll go ahead and drop his Valkyries, and right now the clan castle is triggered, so he's going to drop a poison in there, and look at those Valkyries, they are running in here. So that dragon is going to have a field day on those Valkyries, so he drops the heal right now. Just go ahead and start healing them up. And then he also drops a rage in there to get them through. So they're already take out the king. Boom, he is down. Jump there into the queen. Queen is down. And we're just running our way through the base. They trip a giant bomb right there. The golems trip another giant bomb to the right. And everybody starts taking out the Teslas. Those Valkyries are doing damage. And now with the queen and king down, the enemy ones, he can start sending the Hogs. He still has an extra heal for them. And look at that. All of those giant bombs have been taken out, or they've all been triggered. So all these Hogs have to do is worry about staying alive and kind of fading those spring traps. He uses that last heal there, and now he's going to go ahead and make his way through the rest of the base, which is always very nice to know that you're not going to jump into a giant bomb or double giant bomb. So that always makes it easier. He has 1 billion Hogs left over. His queen is still up. His king is still at full health. And I think all his Valkyries have pretty much been torn apart. So he can swag that poison and just watch the rest of these Hogs go around that base. So, I mean, the very, very nice attack. That is how you do a GoVaHo. We'll go ahead and take a look at one more and just show an example of a Stoned GoHo. For our last GoHo, the Stoned GoHo, we're going to go ahead and show this attack. And, you know, Big Einstein brings this attack because he's going to come up from this area right here in a stoned 3-golem entrance. And this is a common internet base. I forget what it's called. I call it the moat. I don't think it's the general. No, I think it's like the moat or something like that. The bombs are usually, let's see, they're usually like in this area. There's Teslas and giant bombs in this area. And then in this area right here. So we know where this is. I mean, it's a common internet base. We know where the bombs are. So going and sending up, you know, his golems, his stone, is going to get him access to all of the. He's going to place a jump. I believe he places a jump right in this spot right here. And that's going to give him access to all of the traps in the moat. It's going to give him access to the king and the queen, the enemy king and queen. And then he can go ahead and send his Hogs in while the kill squad has made it up to the bulk and to the core of the base. So we're going to go ahead and check this out and see how it goes and watch this particular attack. Also notice that it gives him the opportunity, since he's not using Valkyries, he can bring 3 heals for his Hogs instead of having to worry about a heal and a rage for his Valkyries and a jump. So basically he's getting 2 extra spells to bring in by not bringing Valks. So he drops the 2 golems just for the funneling. The wall breakers go in, and then he drops his queen to help with that funneling, and drops the 3rd golem on the bottom for the complete stone entry. And these Teslas are popping, but these golems are tanking for him. Drops that jump just like I placed there. One of the golems wanders off to take care of that mortar, and then we'll reroute. Lava Hound in the clan castle is not going to be a big deal. The queen's going to go ahead and take that particular clan castle out. And the king will go in there and take out both the enemy king and queen. So both the royals are down. Golems are tanking, and none of the giant bombs I don't think have been tripped yet. So there goes one right there by the Hogs. They're standing in heals. There's still a full max golem in that core, and the queen is making her way around. while the rest of the kill squad is tanking. Finally, that Lava Hound pops, and the queen is taking care of those. Still hasn't used her ability yet. Still has one more heal left as well, and finishes off with those hogs from the left-hand side into that giant bomb. So I don't know if we missed the other giant bomb or if we just didn't trip it because we eliminated the pathing where I showed in that mode. But there's a lot of hogs in there for taking care of this defense and then for cleanup. And those lava pups are focused on that golem and the golemites, which is going to really do nothing to them. There we go. There's the double giant bomb set, just like I said, and that was completely inconsequential to the raid. So, you know, those 3 golems allowed him to make that, you know, not a very, very far push, but to keep that kill squad up in that core to tank for, you know, the clan castle, the pups, and for the hogs that were being surgically deployed around the base. All having that, all those defenses, or a good portion of those defenses, focused on those golems and king and other parts of the kill squad. So queen is still up, did use her ability, but she is almost full energy, so ends that with a 3-star. So hopefully, you know, you guys were able to tell the difference, you know, for GoHo, Stoned, and GoVaHo. Again, you want to get into that base a little deeper and make a huge push and get the royals. You can go ahead and use the Valkyries. They're gonna go ahead and take care of a lot more of the base for you than just golems would. And if you're relying on your kill squad to make it through a good portion of the base, you use the GoVaHo. You are going to have to use at least 2 to 3 spells for them to do it correctly. And if you're just looking at a push, a decent push, but you have higher royals that you want these golems to tank for them, and they're going to be dealing the brunt of the damage and letting the hogs do a lot of the defensive cleanup, then you're going to go with a Stoned GoHo and let those golems tank for your royals and for those hogs as they're making their way around the base. So go ahead, practice these, you know, different compositions, get comfortable with, you know, what bases to hit for yourself, and you know, the timing and everything like that. Go ahead and get those 6-star clan wars and practice those 3-star attacks.